What up, guys? This is the series that I promised you. Colorado versus the Big 12. Who got better? The first team was taken. It's only right that we do Nebraska. They are our biggest rival, so it's only fitting that we do Nebraska first on this series, Colorado versus the Big 12. Who got better? I'm going to give you Nebraska's preseason roster, BWBs, bandwagon buffs. You should know your team already, but for those who are watching the videos who are coming over because they are Nebraska fans that don't really know Colorado, I will also give you Colorado's preseason roster, and then we can all decide who got better or who got worse and what are the implications of getting better or worse. I'll give you all of that right after Shador tells us who we all around here.
BWB, bandwagon buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I gotta go ahead and get into this video real quick, so that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. Let me give you a little bit of a disclaimer before we get into these rosters. This is a preseason roster. This is way before the spring games for each team. There are still going to be moving pieces. We're still waiting for that transfer portal to open up again. I tried my best to find the most up-to-date roster. There's no one exhaustive list that lists all of the players. But for the most part, even though we're still waiting for that transfer portal to open up again for us to get a few more pieces, at this point, with the spring game being April the 27th, if you don't have your core team, then you really are not planning on doing that well in 2024. I mean, let's just be frank, okay? Most teams have their core group of guys, and at this point, they're just trying to add one or two pieces here and there. With all that being said, guys, let's get to work. This is the article that I found on The Athletic. The Nebraska Football 115 top players on the Cornhuskers 2024 football roster. Some of these players may or may not still be on the team, but I figured this is going to be their core group with maybe one or two names. And if you are a Nebraska fan watching this video, please help us out by letting us know which one of these players are no longer either with you, they transferred out, they left, you know what I'm saying, because it happens. And this article is by Mitch Sherman. Lincoln, Nebraska. The Nebraska football roster has undergone widespread change in less than 14 months under coach Matt Don't Rule Jack. Let me be respectful. Under coach Matt Rule. Every position group appeared renewed, some with entirely fresh personnel, such as at quarterback and wide receiver, and others like defensive back and offensive line with a mix of veteran bodies and new blood. Same thing with Colorado. Undeniably, the Huskers have improved their depth. In part, they've taken advantage of a changing landscape in the sport that has reduced the visibility of the 85-player scholarship limit. For programs with robust NIL operations, a limited group of newcomers, former walk-ons, and graduates can receive the equivalent of scholarships through NIL payments. It's a new world indeed in college sports. More important to track than the 85 is the 115-player roster limit for preseason camp in August. So we're introducing a new staple, the 115. Much will change as players come and go and rise through off-season performance. So keep that in mind, guys. This list will look a little different, okay? Today, it's a projection. But if preseason camp started tomorrow, Nebraska coaches will face several difficult choices. A handful of walk-ons who could impact the Huskers in 2024 might not make the cut, left off as they manage injuries that could impact their readiness for August. Offensive lineman Ethan Piper and Jacob Hood, and incoming freshman defensive back Evan Taylor. We'll update the 115 next when the window for transfer portal entry closes after the conclusion of spring practice. As Nebraska offseason training begins this week, here's the first edition. We're starting with the quarterbacks room. Quarterbacks 4. The first quarterback is Heinrich Harburg, Jr., 6'5", 215 pounds, 8-game starter in 2023, might showcase his versatility. What was Heinrich's production in 2023? 967 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he was rated 106.6. Our next quarterback is Luke Longville, sophomore, 6'2", 200 pounds. The top walk-on at the position is needed for depth. Luke Longville is a sophomore with no production in 2023. Nothing to show here. Our next quarterback is Daniel Kalen. He's a freshman, 6'3", 210 pounds. High ceiling early enrollee will benefit from time to develop. That's good. We got a couple of guys that enrolled early, and they should be getting some reps in, so that's a good thing for Daniel Kalen. The next quarterback is obviously the name that everybody knows. That's Dylan Raiola. I call him Ravioli. Freshman, 6'3", 220 220 pounds. Hey, Dylan, if you're watching this, take that, brother. You're the rival. I don't care. Ravioli, about to part that Red Sea all over again. You understand what I'm saying, Moses? Anyways, 5-star signee and flip from Georgia, and Ohio State projects as the starter. Freshman coming in. There's a very high ceiling on this kid. Everybody thinks he's going to be that guy, but we'll see. All right, and what is the synopsis according to Mitch Sherman? Is this group too thin and young? Spring practice will answer the key question for new quarterbacks coach Glenn Thomas. Raiola brings mega talent, but Nebraska could look to the portal for depth and experience if needed. Let's look at Colorado's quarterbacks. A look at Coach Prime's upgraded roster for the CU Buffs. This article is by Brian Howell. So keep in mind, this article was January the 6th, okay? This article was put out a few months ago. So if you see a name on here that's no longer there, guys, this is the information available at the time of this research 2024. All right, here we go. Quarterbacks, 4 on scholarship. Rising senior Shedeur Sanders is the starter and on the mend from injuries that cut his 2023 season a game and a half short. Redshirt freshman Ryan Stubb, who looked good in the finale at Utah, is also slated to return. 2 sophomore transfers, Walter Taylor, Vanderbilt, and Destin Wade, Kentucky, have boosted the depth. The Buffs could add another QB, but look solid with this group. Those are our quarterbacks. If you remember, Shedeur had a fractured back, so we are dealing with injuries as well on our team. We do have a few guys that are coming back from injuries, so we'll see how this injury affects our team. Next group is going to be the running backs. They got 6 running backs. Ramir Johnson is the first one. He's a senior. He's 5'10", 185 pounds. Third down back on the men from shoulder surgery. They're dealing with injury just like we are. Ramir Johnson's production in 2023, 12 carries, 65 yards, 0 touchdowns, average 5.4. The next running back is going to be Gabe Irvin. He's a junior. He's 6 foot, 220 pounds. A hip injury was the latest setback for the highly regarded runner. The next running back is Trevin Lubin. He's a junior, 5'11", 205 pounds. He's a walk-on. He contributed in a reserve role on offense and special teams. His production in 2023, 3 carries, 29 yards, 0 touchdowns, average 9.7 yards. For the next Huskers running back, his parents love to put a D on it. You know what I'm saying? Dante Dowdell, sophomore, 6'2", 210 pounds. Former 4-star Oregon signee gets the chance to shine in spring. Dante's production in 2023, 17 carries, 90 yards, 1 touchdown, average 5.3. Not much happening there either. Our next running back is Emmett Johnson, sophomore, 5'11", 190 pounds. Started 6 of the final 7 games last year and rushed for 410 yards. Production was 90 carries, 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.6 average. Our next running back is Quentin Ives, redshirt freshman, 6'2", 185 pounds. Strong runner, preserved redshirt despite backfield depth issues. All right, so what's the synopsis on these running backs? Irvin and Ramir Johnson have managed to rush for just 1,153 yards in 7 combined seasons. Their injury problems created the need for Dowdell, a well-rounded back. Ives or Eves, depending on how you pronounce that, is the dark horse here. Now let's take a look at the Colorado's running backs room. For Colorado, we have 4 running backs. Junior Alton McCaskill IV was never healthy last year, but the former Houston star is the potential leader here. Senior Savion Wilkinson and sophomore Dylan Edwards have really good moments too. That's a solid trio to go along with incoming freshman Michael Welch. CU is likely to add another 1 or 2 backs. Colorado doesn't really use fullbacks, but Nebraska has 3 fullbacks. Braden Clover, junior, 6'2", 235 pounds. He's a former defensive end, switched sides of the ball last spring. The next fullback they got is Barrett Liebertritt, junior, 6 foot tall, 235 pounds. He played linebacker at Notre Dame and in 7 games for Nebraska last year. Their next fullback is Jennerin Bonner, sophomore, 6'2", 220 pounds. Potential offensive weapon, has skills to run, block, and catch passes. He's going to be an X factor. That's what's up. In the next iteration of the Rule Satterfield offense, a lead blocker still has a role, and we might see the Huskers throw more often to the fullbacks. All right, our next room is going to be the tight ends room. Nebraska has 7. The first tight end is Nate Borkacher, junior, 6'5", 245 pounds. He started 11 games during the past 2 seasons and earned a scholarship. Next tight end is Thomas Fadone II. He's a junior. He's 6'6", bounced back from 2 knee injuries to emerge in 2023 with 25 receptions. receptions. Their next tight end is Luke Lindenmeyer. He's a sophomore. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. He started 5 games last year and showed high-level blocking ability. Next tight end is Ishmael Smith Flores. He's a redshirt freshman. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. Multi-sports star in high school whose dad was an All-American at Iowa. The next tight end is Ian Flint. He's 6'4", 255 pounds, brings a physical offensive presence from a family of Nebraska track athletes. Their next tight end is Eric Ingerson. He's a freshman, 6'6", 250 pounds. Equally as talented in high school on D-line as at tight end. Their next tight end is Carter Nelson. He's a freshman, 6'5", 225 pounds. Did it all as an 8-man star and prep All-American in Ainsworth, Nebraska. What's the synopsis? It's not just a deeper and more adept group than a year ago, but the Huskers have balance here with a healthy mix of playmakers and old school edge blockers. We don't have as many tight ends for sure, but man, that's a dream room right there to have 7 tight ends averaging 6'4" inches. Sheesh. Comparing to theirs, look at our tight ends room. Man. Tight ends, 2. Oh, this is sad. Bruh, Coach Prime, Coach Reyes, y'all need to get some tight ends, bruh. This is sad. It was a thin group last year and could be again, but the Buffs added Cincinnati transfer Chapman Matea and are prioritizing this spot a bit more. How, Sway? Tell me, Sway, how they prioritizing? We only got 2. All right, I'll give it to y'all. Do have one more transfer portal opening, okay? Y'all better get some more tight ends. Stop playing with me. We need DEPTH. The only other scholarship player here is Louis Passarello, and missed the 2023 season with an injury. His status going forward is unknown. See, you could add a couple more players here. You think? Who got better on this group? But let me know, guys, from what you're hearing, what you're seeing, who got better at each position. The next room that we are looking at is going to be the wide receivers room. Wide receivers, 15. Dang, 15 wide receivers for the Huskers. Sheesh. Obviously, they don't know how to start, but that's a lot of wide receivers, bruh. Anyways, Jamal Banks. He's a senior. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. Wake Forest transfer, earned honorable mention All ACC honors in 2022. What production did he have? Receptions 59, 653 yards, 4 touchdowns. He averaged 11.1 yards per catch. Next wide receiver is Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. He is a senior, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Strong start in 2022 as a New Mexico State transfer. 2023, 1 reception, 7 yards, 0 touchdowns, obviously 7 yards. Next receiver is Isaiah Neor, senior, 6'3", 215 pounds. Texas transfer tore ACL after posting 878 receiving yards at Wyoming in 2021. 1 reception, 14 yards, 0 touchdowns, average obviously 14 yards. Next wide receiver is Elliott Brown Jr., 5'11", 180 pounds. Valuable walk-on, suffered a knee injury in November. Hey, y'all are some corn Huskers. Y'all know your history? I know your history. I know what y'all did last summer. Next wide receiver is Alex Bullock Jr., 6'2", 205 pounds. Started 8 games and caught 15 passes in first major playing time. So what's his production? 15 receptions, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, average 14.7 yards per catch. Next wide receiver is Tavion Thomas Jr., 6'3", 205 pounds. Walk on with good size, played in the first 2 games of career last year. Malachi Coleman, this is the kid's name that I could not remember. He was committed to Colorado, then he switched. He was like, man, I'm gonna stay home. Malachi Coleman, he's a sophomore, 6'4", 190 pounds, speedy top signee from 2023, started 6 games and scored first career touchdown. He had 8 receptions, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 17.4 yards per touch. Question is, are they using him the right way? Homie would be way better with Shador, I'm telling you, man. Maybe this is his breakout year, all right? A lot of guys are looking to break out this year, so maybe he will be one of those. Next Husker receiver is Jalen Lloyd, sophomore, 5'10", 160 pounds. Lloyd and Marvin Harrison Jr. were the only Big Ten receivers with 3 50-yard touchdown receptions. His production, 6 receptions, 237 yards, 3 touchdowns, 39.5 yards average. Our next wide receiver is Demetrius Bell, redshirt freshman, 6 foot, 175 pounds, picked Nebraska over top SEC offers and shows promise as big play talent. Our next guy is Jaden Doss, redshirt freshman, 5'11", 190 pounds, caught 2 passes in a 4-game redshirt season. 2 receptions, 20 yards, 0 touchdowns, 10 yards average. Next, wide receiver, Ja'Cory Barney, freshman, 6 foot, 170 pounds. Among 5 signees for Miami, early enrollee, he played quarterback in high school. Quinn Clark, freshman, 6'5", 205 pounds, son of ex-Nebraska running back Ken Clark, committed after June camp offer. Next receiver is Devon Hall, freshman, 6'1", 190 pounds, part of Bellevue West trio that was first from same high school to sign with Huskers since 1987. Isaiah McMorris, freshman, 5'10", 170 pounds, Hall's prep teammate, caught a state record 90 passes as a junior. Keelan Smith is our next guy, freshman, 6'2", 205 pounds, large class offensive player of the year in Missouri and son of Nebraska legend Neil Smith. What's the synopsis, my guy? The addition of Banks and Neor changes the offense. They give Nebraska experience and credibility and enhance the developmental timeline of 9 first and second year pass catchers. Let's look at Colorado's wide receivers room. Colorado has 11 receivers. The 11 doesn't include the best receiver on the team, Travis Hunter, who will include at cornerback. It does include Jimmy Horn Jr., who had a really good first season at CU, and transfer Will Shepard, the lead receiver at Vanderbilt the past 2 years. Transfers Terrell Timmons Jr., NC State, and Cordell Russell, TCU, plus dynamic freshmen Cameron Michael and Drillin Miller join a group that includes several other talented youngsters, including junior Tavares Dawson and sophomore Omarion Miller. Look for the Buffs to add 1 or 2 more. All right, so it's this guy right here, FAU's LaJohntay Wester, transfers to Colorado. Former Owls receiver was highly sought after following a career year in 2023. A few days after Shedeur Sanders publicly said he wanted LaJohntay Wester in Boulder, the Buffaloes QB got his wish. The former FAU wide receiver announced he was transferring to Colorado on Tuesday morning, as you see right there. All right, let's make sure we keep this list honest. See if we got any more wide receivers that we're missing. We got Terrell Timmons Jr. there. That's Drillon Miller. That's Will Shepard, Cordell Russell. Okay, I'm trying to do the right thing by the fans, but that's the list that I got. So hopefully that suffices for our wide receivers. Okay, now I may be a little biased, but I think our receivers room is one of the best in college football. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're moving to the next group. Now we come to the the offensive line. OMG. Coach Prime made linemen, whether it's offensive or defensive linemen, sexy all over again, bruh. Because that was our biggest narrative, that our old line was no good. I wonder how those guys felt or feel every time they hear that. Hey, linemen, just keep in mind, I am not of the same thinking. I think you guys were pretty good. Not too shabby. All right, so Nebraska's offensive line. All right, we got Bryce Benart, senior, 6'9", 315 pounds, back for a 6th season after school record tying 41 starts at right tackle. 6 seasons, bro. He is a professional student, boy. I tell you. Our next lineman is Turner Cochran. If it's a Spanish name, it could be Turner Corcoran, but you let me know if it's Cochran, if that's how we spell Cochran. But our senior, 6'6", 310 pounds, a knee injury in October snapped his streak of 30 consecutive starts, most at left tackle. Next lineman is Micah Mascua. He's a senior, 6'5", 325 pounds, transferred via Florida and Baylor, started for both schools at right guard. Ben Scott is our next lineman. He's a senior, 6'5", 305 pounds, honorable mention, all Big Ten pick at center last year. That's going to be their center. The next lineman is Raquan Buckley, junior, 6'5", 295 pounds, moved late last year from D-line after playing in 8 games. He went from the D-line to the offensive line. Our next offensive lineman is Henry Ludovaki Jr., 6'6", 325 pounds. He's a spot starter and rotational guard past 2 seasons. Our next offensive lineman is Joey Machino. He's a junior, 6'1", 295 pounds. He's a walk-on, earned 1 start at left guard last year. Next offensive lineman is Keegan Manning Jr., 6'5", 330 pounds. He's a walk-on the interior, played last season in his first game. Our next offensive lineman is Teddy Prochaska. He's a junior, 6'10", 325 pounds, returned from 2 injury-shortened seasons to take over at left tackle in the second half of 2023. The next offensive lineman is Justin Evans Jenkins, sophomore, 6'1", 315 pounds, 5-game starter last year with versatility on the interior. Next offensive lineman is Tyler Knack, sophomore, 6'6", 325 pounds. Utah transfer, can provide tackle depth after red shirt. The next offensive lineman is Dylan Parrott. He's a sophomore, 6'5", 330 pounds. Walk on with a big frame, got in 3 games last year. Next offensive lineman is Gunnar Gatula, red shirt freshman, 6'5", 295 pounds. Backup left tackle, preserved red shirt while appearing in 4 games. Our next offensive lineman is Brock Newton, redshirt freshman, 6'7", 305 pounds. Developmental tackle, did not play in his first season. Next offensive lineman is Jason Machaschak, redshirt freshman, 6'2", 320 pounds. Switched from D-line and excited coaches with athleticism. Just like we had a couple of guys switch positions. We had Bishop Thomas, we had Trevor Woods, we had the wide receiver play tight end. It happens on every team, guys. Every team it happens, okay? Their next offensive lineman is Grant Segrin, redshirt freshman, 6'6", 260 pounds. Walk on, added 35 pounds from listed weight in first months on campus. That boy said, I gotta get bigger, man. I see these dudes are over 300 pounds and I'm only a 260. Nah, brethren. Sam Sledge is our next offensive lineman. He's a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 285 pounds. Worked into spot on 2 deep at left guard while redshirting. Now, if you're asking the question, you're like, Harry B., why are you giving us all these bench warmers? It doesn't matter. It does matter. We're trying to see where they got better, okay? You don't redshirt forever. You don't sit on the bench forever. Guys come into rotations. Guys come into themselves. They gain more confidence and they step up. They may take somebody's spot. You never know. You understand what I'm saying? Next offensive lineman is Grant Bricks, freshman, 6'6", 285 pounds. Early enrollee, top 100 prospect pick, Huskers over Oklahoma. Next offensive lineman is Landon Davidson, freshman, 6'4", 310 pounds. June commit last year out of Colorado's backyard. What you trying to do there, huh? What are you trying to do there, huh, Sherman? Huh, Mitch? Huh, Mitch? Mitch want to start a war, huh, Mitch? Jake Peters is our next offensive lineman. He's a freshman, 6'3", 260 pounds. 3-sport standout from Iowa, committed during June Camp Leary. Next offensive lineman is Gibson Pyle. He's a freshman, 6'5", 300 pounds. Early enrollee who played in All-American Bowl in January. Our next offensive lineman is Xander Rugaroli. He's a freshman, 6'6", 285 pounds. Late bloomer out of Las Vegas, was last to join O-line class. Our next offensive lineman is Preston Tamua, freshman, 6'4", 320 pounds. Top-rated prospect out of Hawaii. He played in January in the Polynesian Bowl. What's the synopsis, Mitch? A potential 2 deep with 7 juniors and seniors is just what Nebraska needs to make life a bit easier for its young quarterback. The group still lacks reliable depth at tackle. Keep that in mind, guys. They still need some tackles, all right? For those who are a little bit confused about these positions, obviously everybody around here don't know football like that, and this channel is your premier education channel for the Buffs and college football. So let me show you real quick on the positions. This is not necessarily for the Buffs offense. This will show you the trenches, starting from the left wide receiver. You go into the trenches, you got tackle, you got the left tackle, you got the guard, all right? You got C for the center, you got the right guard, and then you have the right tackle. So that is your trenches, all right? You see where the arrow is on the right tackle? That is what your trenches is going to look like, okay? This is your position group for the trenches. You got tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle. That's just how it looks. Okay, guys? I just wanted to show you that real quick for those who are not familiar with these positions in football. All right, let's keep it going. I'll remind you that Nebraska had 23 offensive linemen, All right, compared to Colorado. Colorado has 15 offensive linemen. Nebraska just brings everybody on. It looks like, look, let's go. All right, we need all of y'all. After a dismal 2023 season up front, there has been a heavy emphasis here this off season. The Buffs landed the #1 prep lineman in the country in Jordan Seaton and 5 FBS starters through the transfer portal. They'll also get Tyler Brown back after he was forced to sit out the 2023 season after transferring a second time. Starters Jack Bailey and Savion Washington are also back. 11 of the 15 are seniors or juniors. CU could stand pat with this group. Is it pat with this group or put with this group? Maybe I'm tripping here. CU could stand put with this group, but some movement in or out wouldn't be surprising. That's right. I wouldn't be surprised because, that's just how it works in college football. We've seen that happen. Offensive guard, adding Justin Mayers. Offensive tackle, we're adding Khalil Benson. At guard, we're also adding Tyler Johnson. At center, we're adding Yakari Walker. Just told you about Jordan Seaton at offensive tackle. Phillip Houston is adding at offensive tackle. I did a live where my panel went over the offensive line, who we think are going to be the preseason starters. You can go and watch that video. It's on the page. I mean, the way that it looks, we did beat them last year, and Shador had his way, but there's no telling. I mean, as far as the offensive line and the protection that each quarterback is going to have, we are very bullish and we're very excited for our new offensive line. We don't know how they're going to fare off with Nebraska. We got better players on that offensive line that's going to beat Nebraska again, but we'll see. It's a rival game, so you can't be that confident because emotions and energy and stuff like that plays a lot. A lot of these players are new players on both sides, so you don't know how they're going to buy into the whole rivalry situation, how much the coach is going to sell, what the rivalry means for these guys to take it personal. We never know, but listen, a rivalry game is usually very tough for both teams, so you never know who's going to win. With Shador, we got one on him. We might take it again. You never know. All right, let's go to the defensive line. They got 14 defensive linemen. We're starting with Jacob Herbeck. Herbeck is a senior, 6'5", 260 pounds. He's a former scout team standout, saw time in 6 games in 2023. The next defensive lineman is Nash Hudmacher. He is a senior, 6'4", 330 pounds. He's a powerful tackle, will play closer to 310 pounds this year after a 4.5 sack season. Ty Robinson, he's a senior, 6'6", 310 pounds. He's back for a 6th year on the interior with 33 starts over 4 seasons. The next defensive lineman is Elijah Judy. He's a junior. He's 6'3", 280 pounds. Texas A&M transfer, appeared in 11 games in his first year with the Huskers. The next defensive lineman is A.J. Rollins. Isn't that the person that write the books? Maybe not. Maybe I got the names wrong. Anyway, he's a junior, 6'5", 245 pounds. Moved from tight end last spring and appeared in 4 games. The next D lineman is Cameron Leonard. He's a sophomore, 6'3", 250 pounds. Standout true freshman, recorded 5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. Defensive lineman is Brody Tagaloa. He's a sophomore, 6'4", 260 pounds. Shelved by preseason auto accident after his move from tight end. Man, I hope he's okay. The next D lineman is Riley Van Poppel. Sophomore, 6'5", 275 pounds. Promising tackle, made a major impact as a true freshman. Next defensive lineman is Kai Whalen. Sophomore, 6'5", 250 pounds. He's a junior college transfer. Played in 4 games and redshirted. Next defensive lineman is James Williams. Sophomore, 6'5", 235 pounds. Rose from scout team to pass rushing force and still redshirted. Next defensive lineman is Vincent Carroll Jackson. Redshirt freshman, 6'5", 270 pounds. Debuted in the season finale after bringing limited prep experience. Next D lineman is Mason Goldman. Redshirt freshman, 6'5", 260 pounds. Settled well on defense after mid-season surgery. Next D lineman is Sua Lafotu. Redshirt freshman, 6'3", 300 pounds. Californian, recorded a fumble against Colorado in his first action. Do not put us on your highlight reel. You understand what I'm saying? Don't do that next time. Our next defensive lineman is Ashton Murphy. He's a freshman, 6'4", 225 pounds. He's the lone D lineman in newcomer class, is enrolling early. What's the synopsis? Robinson and Hutmacher anchor the black shirts. Leonard and Van Poppel are 2 of the better young D linemen in the Big Ten. And maybe Williams is the wild card as a natural at rushing the passer. All right, now Colorado's defensive line, total of 9. Transfers Chidozie Wanwo, Houston, Aquin Barnes, Alabama, and Quincy Wiggins, LSU, have been huge additions this offseason. CU returns some experience with Shane Cooks, Chaz Wallace, J.J. Hawkins, and Amari McNeil. So this group appears to be much improved. The most recent episode of Amazon's Coach Prime series said sophomore Bishop Thomas is suspended with his status for next season unknown. If reinstated, Thomas could be a key player. If not, the Buffs could look to add more pieces. Defensive tackle Aquin Barnes. All right, we got DT right there. Defensive end, we got Eric Brentley. Defensive end, Brandon Davis Swain. Defensive end, Quincy Wiggins, Sam Okalola. Defensive tackle, that's Chittle right there. That's known as the block bully. Now, I don't really know about that bully thing, but hey, man, it's in football. So if he keeps it on football and not try to bully anybody outside of football, I'm all for that block bully in football. You understand what I'm saying, guys? I don't like bullies. Now, let's look at the linebackers room. 16 linebackers. My goodness, bro. Yo, what the heck this Nebraska, what are they on? Like, they got nothing over there but corn. You like corn? What in the world, man? Like, how many people do y'all want on your team, bro? Like 23 offensive tackles, like 23, 16. Like, these numbers are crazy, bro. But these type of numbers, y'all would think y'all can beat lowly Colorado with one tight end last year. Men lie and women lie, and numbers don't. Their numbers is lying, bro. John Bullock, senior, 6 foot, 220 pounds, top returnee at position group, notched 50 tackles in 10 starts. Okay, John. MJ Sherman, senior, 6'3", 250 pounds. Former elite prospect transfer from Georgia and started 5 games in 2023. Grant Tagg, senior, 6'1", 205 pounds. 3-year special teams standout is a valued locker room presence. The next linebacker is Javin Wright, senior, 6'5", 215 pounds. Broke out in 2023 with 51 tackles after battling multiple injuries. Next linebacker is Michael Booker III, junior, 6'1", 210 pounds. Walk on, moved from DB and played a big role on special teams. Next linebacker is Chief Borders, junior, 6'4", 245 pounds. Florida transfer, played a reserve role in every game during his first season. Next linebacker is Jamari Butler, junior, 6'4", 245 pounds. Started 6 games and led Black Shirts with 8.5 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. And if you're wondering what a black shirt is, black shirts are awarded to defensive starters and other key defensive players. Our next linebacker is Mekhi Bayer, junior, 6'2", 230 pounds. Another breakout performer. Started 4 games in first career opportunity. Next linebacker is Stephon Thompson, junior, 6'1", 250 pounds. Played for defensive coordinator Tony White at Syracuse and made 52 stops last year with the Orange. Our next linebacker is Kane Williams, junior, 6'2", 215 pounds. Alabama transfer, has yet to crack the rotation in 2 seasons with the Huskers. Our next linebacker is Gage Stenger, sophomore, 6'2", 190 pounds. High school QB looking for the chance to make an impact. He's like, I ain't going to cut it at the quarterback position, so let me go ahead and switch up to linebacker. That's the same move that Jawan Johnson of LSU is making, and we'll see him in 2024. He was pretty good at that quarterback position, but now he's going over to cornerback, or he's going to be a DB. Committed to Colorado right after the spring game. He was like, nah, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? He saw some things he didn't like. He was like, I want to go back to the boo. We'll see how he does. Our next linebacker is Princeville Umimilin. He's a sophomore, 6'4", 240 pounds. Rising star, earned second team freshman All-American recognition. That's what's up, Princeville. Our next linebacker is Maverick Noonan, redshirt freshman, 6'4", 235 pounds. Preseason injury forced a redshirt after a solid spring last year. All right, they got a lot of Dylans on that team, boy. I tell you, Dylan Raiola, Dylan this, Dylan that, Dylan Rogers, redshirt freshman, 6'3", 235 pounds. Options abound for a versatile defender out of Texas. You want to get cute with the wording here? I see you. Options abound. You got many options. Okay, he's an athlete. Options abound. Willis McGee. Why does that name sound so familiar? Willis McGee, the 4th freshman, 6'1", 230 pounds. Early enrollee, Miami product, brings talent and name recognition. Yeah, name recognition. Who's Willis Willis McGee? We talking about running back Willis McGee? Is that who that is? You guys let me know in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Who's Willis McGee? Our next linebacker is Vincent Shavers Jr., freshman, 6'1", 205 pounds. Early enrollee, recorded 7 sacks as a senior at Miami Central. What's the synopsis? This group lost a lot, but the ceiling appears high and depth is solid. Rob Dvorak has quietly emerged as one of the most promising defensive assistants in the Big Ten. All right, guys, you know how I feel about our linebackers. I've done an extensive video on linebackers. I've given you the numbers and all of that jazz for the Colorado Buffaloes. But just for this video's sake, I will oblige. Levante Bentley returns after having a really good season for the Buffs, but they upgraded the position when they landed Florida transfer DJ Lundy. If you know what I know, DJ Lundy changed his mind. Time of this article, DJ Lundy was in the building, but he's no longer in the building, okay? A fully healthy Damari Kennedy could help, and the Buffs have a trio of redshirt freshmen they like. The Buffs could use some experienced reinforcements, though. Currently counted is Brendan Gant, who is out of eligibility, but hopes to obtain a medical hardship for one more season. This is what our linebackers room looks like. Levante Bentley with 40 sacks. Jalen Wester, Keaton Wade, Nikhil Webb-Walker. You got Jeremiah Brown, Damari Kennedy, Brandon Gant, who is out of eligibility. Hopefully he gets that waiver. Morgan Pearson. You got Kofi Taylor Barracks, and you got Victory Johnson. Those are our linebackers. Now, in that second signing day, Colorado did sign a linebacker named Kyron Garcia. All right, he's an inside linebacker, 6'3", 225 pounds, class of 2024 at Dunbar, Fort Myers, Florida. I believe Rivals here is listing him as a 2-star, but I believe he's a 3-star, if I'm not mistaken. I believe overall he's a 3-star. So he's not a consensus 3-star because Rival is listing him as a 2-star. If there's a player that I missed off this list, please let me know. As far as the linebackers room is concerned, let me know if I'm missing any players. Players are coming in at different times. Possible that I may miss a player that I'm not thinking about while recording this video. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got a community. If I miss something, you know, don't try to shame me. Just let me know that I missed something. You know what I'm saying? I know some, you know, people always trying to get an upper hand on people, but they got 23 defensive backs. The next room is the defensive backs, DBs. 23 DBs. I'm not going through this whole list, okay? Like, who's good and who's not? Is Isaiah Gifford good? All right. Is Tommy Hill good? What's the synopsis, man? After all those daggone DBs, 20 freaking 3 DBs, bro. Like, what are y'all doing in Nebraska, man? Stop playing with me, bro. A senior and junior dominated top group bodes well. Some questions exist at corner opposite Tommy Hill. Go figure. Get it? Competition will be fierce there and for top backup spots. We got 8 cornerbacks. It all starts with Travis Hunter, of course, and the Buffs need sophomore Cormani McLean to take the next step. They went out, landed Liberty transfer Preston Hodge, however, to upgrade the spots. Omarion Cooper and Carter Stoudemire are talented corners slated to return. Preston Hodge right there, and then you got cornerback DJ McKinney. Now, I don't remember doing the edge rushers, but we got BJ Green. I feel like we got a few edge rushers, you know what I'm saying, that's going to probably be joining that linebackers room, and they're going to be, you know, fusing the linebackers room. I want to also tell you about Gage Goldberg. All right, for a lot of you that may not know, he may be a linebacker or an edge. Not really sure what Coach Prime is going to prefer that he plays. He's the wrestler's son. Also, our edge room is looking pretty nice. As far as our edge rushers, Colorado probably has the better edge room. Maybe Nebraska is not identifying their edge rushers apart from their linebackers room. It is possible that their edge rushers are part of their linebackers room. Maybe they're not identifying it like that. But we do have a few edge rushers that could bolster our linebackers room. If I'm not mistaken, I think the block bully is an edge. We're going to eat ravioli for lunch that day. So what are the Nebraska fans saying right here? Stuart F says, what a difference a year makes, especially after the last round of Porter additions and a QB coach. It's progress when you have a hard time seeing freshmen make the 2 deep, except for QB. I would be stunned if we don't see major progress in all 3 phases in the coaching. How many more days till UTEP? University of Texas, El Paso. Did they beat y'all last year? Did they keep y'all from going to a bowl game? Is that what you want? You want that back? Billy F says the roster turnover in a little over a year is stunning. It is shaping up to be a very good athletic team. It's exciting. Okay. Robert G says, thanks for this, Mitch. That is your guy, Mitch Sherman, who put this list together. Again, keep in mind this list was done in January, so some guys could be missing off that list. Some guys could have been added. Some guys could have left since January, so don't hold me 100% to this. But Nebraska fans will definitely help me when they see the thumbnail, Nebraska versus Colorado. Nebraska fans, go ahead, help us out so we can all learn something from each team. Colorado fans, help the Nebraska fans out. Let's learn from each other. The rivalry is on the field. Right now it's off the field, so let's be cordial. Let's help each other out. Who you think got better? How you think the games are going to go as far as the trenches? The next team, we're going to go down the schedule. I will give you their roster. We can figure out who got better, who got worse. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to see you on the next one. Okay.